So I thought this evening I would like to just open the floor for anything that anyone would like to hear me speak on, as opposed to asking a personal question. If there is a topic that you would like to hear addressed, you can raise your hand and we'll pass a microphone around to you. Who has the microphone? So 2 hands.
For years I've been going round and round about this one, but I'd like to know what you mean by staying in touch with yourself. Is it remaining vigilant?
Yourself is really something that is very, very obvious. There may be a lot of different titles, but it is not something that is confusing. It is the feeling of your simple existence. It is the stripping away of the habits that pull you away from what lives now, that is built out of memory, projecting into a future, drawing attention away from what lives inside of you. It's not really inside of you, it's everywhere, but you find it going within because the habit is away from. The experience of everything perceptive is away from the feeling of yourself. Everything that is perceptive courses distance. It is subject and object. The subject courses distance to recognize the object. The feeling of your being is at no distance. It is closer than the closest thing. It is at no distance, so breaking out of the habit of always being away from yourself, which is in the play of spatial relationship, in the play of time, it is past projecting future, which is bypassing what is eternally now. They are 2 different avenues of the same thing. What is here is now. Everything else is away from that. You access yourself by breaking the habit of being away from, in which this very complex fantasy is created, built on the particular construct. Being with yourself. The word is often used moving within, but it is breaking the habit of moving away from. It is not really movement. It is in truth discovered to be complete stillness. What is unmoving? What is at no distance? What is everywhere, so there cannot be movement because it is everywhere. One is an overlay that draws attention. The other is the essence which lives now and is not away from you, in fact is you. The other is a projection that projects away from, creating this trance, this computer program that is 3-dimensional and 5-sensory. When I am speaking about yourself, I am speaking about this moment. But this moment is not a moment in time. It is the taste of what is timeless. It is not the closest thing. It is the taste of what is not in the realm of distance. Because it is at no distance, it requires no time. It is not really a movement into, in the deepest sense of it, it is the release of the habit of the movement away from. When mind is turned towards its source, when the looking is inside yourself, mind is impossible to generate a thought. Mind cannot generate thought when turned towards its source, when it is looking for the thinker, when it is looking for from where the thought is coming. It generates thought only in the movement away from yourself. You know, it is like vision. I do not know if you've noticed there is greater light sensitivity in peripheral vision. So, for instance, you can be looking at stars at night, and you may notice a star in the periphery, but if you move your central gaze, the star will disappear. If the star is not very bright, something you can do some night, it is the nature of sight. Thought appears in the periphery. When attention is turned directly onto it, it disappears because it is just an appearance that draws attention into an experience of someone that exists in linear time and in space. Identical to a dream. In a dream, there is depth perception, there is the movement of time. A dream may take the entire lifetime, or it may take 2 minutes in the dream, but the time and the distance and the movement is all creation of mind based on subject-object dynamics. But you must be sleeping in order to dream. But the sleeping is not an object, but it is necessary to dream. When you are aware of what is wakeful but dreamless, it is the same thing as night sleeping, except you are aware. The daydream cannot happen without your existence. The night dream cannot happen without sleeping. The existence is constant, unchanging, not of time. The daydream and the night dream require existence to appear. The role of the appearance is that it draws attention away from the simplicity of your nature, from the innocence and purity of what connects everything, yourself. Yes, the feeling is being blown away, and it is all reflective in the daydream. The more there is the falling into the dreamless feeling of your being, the more the dream reflects the beauty that you are, and then the character feels all of this love and this opening in the daydream, reflective of the state of awareness, it all becomes so obvious how the dream follows where the attention is resting. It is so contrary to the way it seems. For instance, in the play of the dream, there is the teacher who is talking and the student who is listening, and the room of other students that are filling the space. In the feeling of your being, that is all appearing within your very existence, the feeling of the heart. There is no longer a sense of anything separate. The appearance is all felt as myself. The movement is recognized to be apparent movement, so obvious, just like the movement on the screen of a movie. The feeling of your being is not moving. There is the appearance of movement. There is the appearance of change, but stillness is unchanging. And the nature of the appearance is luminous and connected and beautiful because there is not a loss of touch with yourself. The moment there is a loss of touch with yourself, the dream immediately morphs. This is why it is the roadmap. So, very beautiful. Character is deeply moved, really taking it in, and the gold is not in a point of location. Even in these beautiful openings, there is such strong tendency to feel the opening of the reference point. The opening of the reference point is playing because of a connection with yourself, that is, your eternal, unchanging nature, pure luminosity, pure love, pure happiness. Yes, she is blown away. It is beautiful that she is blown away. It is she that is blown away. And the taste of yourself is eternally unchanging. Except the deeper you fall into it, the more it reveals itself, the more its light is revealed, the more the love is revealed, the more the joy is revealed. Finding yourself, it is not active. It is passive. It is letting go of the habit of activity that draws the attention away from. And the discovery of what cannot disappear. For most, it is like being in a dream at night and inside the dream looking for the experience of dreamless sleep. The dream is what pulls you away. And it is pure grace. And it is a pure offering. And when the teaching is imbibed, it becomes the force which deconditions the habit of forgetting, slowing the life enough to be able to receive the offering. When you receive the offering, you can feel the love behind it. When to speak these words of gratitude and then the recognition there is really nothing to say. Yes. The deepest form of prostration lies in the connection with the silence. The deepest form of offering back lies in the connection with yourself. There is only this moment. Everything else is the habit of distraction. The passing of time is the habit of distraction. In this moment, all there is the feeling of yourself. It is everywhere. The forgetting and the remembering is under the wisdom of pure divinity. It is always just receiving the offering and recognizing that every time there is forgetting, the wisdom will be coming in to remind you. And nothing is going on but that. Can talk about the beauty of how this character, after searching the whole life, is transforming so rapidly, but in truth none of that is really real. What is real is the release of the habit of distraction and the deeper falling into what has never changed. And then the play morphs, and love begins infusing itself through everything. But the love is unchanging. It is the feeling of yourself. What magic? What magic recognizing there really is no teacher up there. This is the fourth time there was an attempt to speak and it's just not coming out. You know, the reason for the speaking of there being no teacher is because the orientation of the life has been towards the devotion to the guru. You ever watch the show growing up, Mission Impossible? It is like the tape that Mr. Phelps listens to in the beginning. This tape in 10 seconds is going to self-destruct. That is the role of the guru. And then there is the cardinal question. Then, who am I? And then there is the full embodiment of the discovery that there is no guru, there are no students, there is no separate one. There is the love of pure divinity. There is this radiant, alive joy. Everybody's facing this way, can't get to watch the real movie show. Oh. Okay, sweetheart. Very beautiful. So in the very back, is it Eva? Yes, right behind you. Hello, Eva.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. Very sweet energy about you.
And you too. The whole room.
The whole room.
It feels like you've already spoken towards the question.
Yes, this is the nature of the way it works.
Yeah. And the question was to have you speak about intimacy.
Yes. The deepest form of intimacy lies in the recognition that there is no separation. The recognition that there is no separation lies in the recognition that the separate character is a myth. And then you feel the taste that is completely indivisible. And it is the flavor of the heart. There is nothing that can come close. What the ego mind calls intimate are two separate isolated spheres that periodically touch in the periphery. True intimacy is the recognition that there is no separation. In the taste, there are all of these bodies, but the feeling of your being is equally infusing everything the same. You can find no location to your being. Eventually, the level of awareness is the same with every body that is in the sphere of your awareness, because the experience of being an individual point of reference is obliterated. And it's not that you feel like you are everything, you recognize this is what has always been. And the taste is the taste of this love, this pure love. And the players begin playing out of that taste because the dream is the reflection of the state of awareness. Are you experiencing your visual field shifting around?
Yes.
Yes. You know how I knew that?
Because you're me.
That's right.
So much gratitude.
Yes. This is the byproduct. Gratitude becomes the constant ground. The recognition of grace is gratitude, and grace is recognized to be every single thing. Hello, Dia.
Hello. The topic is original separation from God.
That's the topic, huh?
I was reading Paramahansa Yogananda that said that the original sin was the beginning of thought. And exploring the decision of the soul to come into embodiment onto earth seems to be the beginning of the perception of a separation from source, and that the spiritual path is coming back around to undo that sense of separation, come back to unity. Is that how you would put it?
You know, all of that sounds very reasonable. Certainly not the first time it has been heard. It just feels like such a waste of time to me. Understanding anything or attempting to understand anything, it feels like such a burden to me. Freedom lives in the recognition that the Absolute, which is the unchanging nature of your being, is revealed in the humility of recognizing that everything that seems known is just a tactic that pulls you away from yourself, built around the story of an individual. When there is true living in the reality that nothing of true nature, nothing that is now, nothing that is not away from, nothing that is unchanging, is in the realm of knowing or not knowing. It is in the realm of being. The mind tries to get to being through knowing, but it is a disguise. All of what was spoken feels right, and it all feels completely flat to me, completely in the wrong direction. It is understandable, the question, but just to feel the taste of letting go of the burden of trying to understand. It is all being carried by pure divinity. You know, to me it is like being in bed with your long-lost lover and stopping in the middle and saying, wait a minute, there's something I want to understand. The only reason why these words hold value is because they arise out of knowing nothing. The nectar is pure humility. The taste of pure humility is pure love. Ramana Maharshi said, God is the most humble of all. How are you doing?
I'm metabolizing rapidly.
Yes, it's good. Rapid metabolism. It's how the fat burns. I could use a little rapid metabolism.
The letting go of the past feels like calving of an iceberg.
Feels like what?
The calving of an iceberg.
The thing about the past is you can never find it. You can only find a story. You can never find the past. It becomes so clear that there is no such thing. There is just a story of the past that every identified being lives out of. And out of that, there is the projection of a future. And what that does is it removes you from the simplicity of the feeling of what is eternally now and has never had a past. The difference between an old man and a young child is only the length of the story. The feeling of the beingness is identical. Does your beingness feel like it has been here longer than the beingness felt when you were 10? Of course not. Head started to shake yes, and then I said, of course not, and it shifted to this.
The being feels like it's been forever.
That's right. I wonder why that is. You cannot attach an age to the feeling of being. You cannot attach an identity. You cannot attach a reference point. And then there is the story of my past. That is the habit out of which the common person lives. Except every single moment in the life where there has been an epiphany, where something really rich and beautiful happens, and for a moment the habit of following the story either obviously or subtly stops, and there is a taste of your being, and it is this moment of incredible beauty. So the mind tries to manipulate the outside sphere to return to that when that is the state of existence. But the mind says, oh no, cannot let go of the story of me. What will become of me? And then all of this fear comes up. And that is the nature of the game. What about making money? What about paying rent? What about my future? What about my circumstances? They are all a mirage. They are all a program. Every issue that comes around has come around before when the habit is turning within. It is like a merry-go-round that goes round and up and down, but doesn't go anywhere except it draws the attention away from freedom, pure, immaculate, indivisible beauty. And the game is the mind says it wants it, but it also doesn't want it. The question is not what the mind wants or does not want. The question is what you want. When you want it, there is nothing that can stop you. It's the nature of it. In the habit of the play of the world, it is typically lip service. But not here. That's the grace. And that's what's happening in your dream. Laura has a question.
You said since you demonstrated it with Eva, my question is, you'd said something the other day about letting the master in. I wonder if you could speak about that. I think I got a sense of it.
In this room, there is a heightened feeling. That heightened feeling, which is so alive, that is the master. There are endless names that can be put to it, but ultimately it lives nameless. The way this dreamscape is set up is that when your body comes into this environment, it will be felt more and more intensely. Ultimately, the location becomes meaningless. But so long as it holds meaning, it is to have this unflinching hunger to be in the environment that feeds what the yearning is yearning for. When there is not the possibility to be in that environment, it is to tap in to the feeling that is alive now and is really not in time or location. So our group every year goes to Arunachala, this sacred mountain in southern India. That is where Shiva, you know Shiva? Yes, it is the source of the manifestation of Shiva. The mountain is the form that it has taken because otherwise the light is too bright. It would be impossible for humans to approach. And out of this compassion this hill formed. But the hill is Shiva, it is no hill. So there is traveling around the world to taste what is equally everywhere. And yet in the dream that has all of these layers that dull the light, that veil the beauty, in the dream, this is a point where the veils are lifted. But it is all a dream. And it is by no mistake that it is halfway around the world. It is by no mistake that this would be considered a very cool day there. It is by no mistake that it is in the heart of poverty and pollution. It is the most inconvenient place you could probably think of to go travel to. It is all the nature of the offering. The bigger the offering, the less convenient to the ego. And ultimately, the recognition is that the traveling is not traveling. The mountain is not a mountain. Distance is not distance. Time is not time. But in the dream, the character will go to any lengths, anywhere, because that's the reflection. When the character is fitting it into what is convenient and feels safe, it can offer great beauty and love and connection in the life. But it cannot completely extricate one. It cannot bring complete freedom. This environment is sculpted for the one that is hungry. You are very welcome. Haven't gotten the old jets revved like this in quite a while. You know, it is interesting because having the familiarity of the teaching in this small, intimate community where the feeding of the hunger is no longer necessary. So the character doesn't get so excited anymore. It will do anything because it is a pawn that is hungry for your freedom. Does not experience doing, but it does experience you. And it is a complete servant to you, even though it may look like the authority. Anybody else? So good. Anna. Anna, where's the microphone? Anna is right there. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, sweetheart. Would you speak about the Ganga?
Would you speak about the Ganga?
It's pretty delicious.
You know, it is a funny thing, time and distance. But I am really for the first time discovering the Ganga. The Ganga for Ramakrishna was the same as Arunachala for Ramana Maharshi. One, the embodiment of Lord Shiva, the unmanifest stillness that out of pure compassion comes to burn away illusion. And the other, Mother Kali, the Divine Mother, the pure expression of the purity of Lord Shiva, where Shanti flowers into Shakti, where the play is the pure reflection of the divine, where the softness the yielding, the kindness and compassion, this trip coming up to the Ganga is not the result of being at the Ganga last year, as beautiful as that was. Still left there feeling that Arunachala was the only place for me. But then the one master that symbolizes Lord Shiva, the human incarnation of Shiva, does this guiding into the doorway of the divine manifestation of the receptive, open beauty, and all of a sudden starting to feel the Ganga come alive in a way that is brand new without stepping foot back there. Ramana Maharshi the absolute possibility, the potential in a human life of complete absorption into samadhi, letting that shine for everyone to see, welcoming every being into the absolute reality that is unchanging in pure humility. Rama, Krishna, the embodiment of the divine feminine, forcibly pulling himself out of samadhi on a regular basis to meet people where they were at. One that spoke that he would give up or come back for 1,000 lifetimes to help one aspirant. Both examples of ultimate potential, of ultimate possibility. One embodying divine feminine, symbolized in this play by the Holy Ganga. The other symbolizing divine masculine, the absolute unmanifest bliss of pure being. And it is also intertwined. The nectar of the Ganga, the nectar of Arunachala, it is the same. One is fire, one is water, but the beauty is the same. One seeing only the absolute and the relative appearing within it, and the other in the relative, in the play of the relative, seeing only the absolute. Ramakrishna would lie himself prostrate in front of all that would come in front of him at a time where that was unheard of, still is unheard of in India. It goes the other way. But every expression, the expression of the Holy Mother, of which he would prostrate himself in front of, everything spoken, everything that happened, received as the voice of the Holy Mother. This is the flavor of the offering of the Ganga. You know, perhaps there has been a noticing this particular satsang was a return of a flavor of some of the fire, but something of recent times has greatly softened in the expression. It is the flavor of the Ganga.
It's like your face is fluid now. It's like water.
Yes, it is all the dreamscape. The face is perceived like water because the feeling is of water. Not just water, though, but it is the water of the Holy Mother. Just to feel the heart. Just to feel the silence. It is all the same. It is coming more and more into life. Cannot find from where it is coming. Your senses can approximate ideas, but you cannot find from where it is coming. Yet you feel it inside yourself. The more it is nurtured, the more alive it becomes. The more alive it becomes, the more magical becomes the dream.